Well, as a lot of you probably know, I've worked in the Student Diversity Center for the past 2 years, and I was an impact volunteer my freshman year, so I've been very involved. I also started the first Black People United Club on campus. We won Club of the Year last year. Naomi and I together started Pre-Law Society, the Pre-Law Society. Yep, shout out to Pre-Law. And yeah, I mean, we just have a lot of experience connecting with other organizations and clubs around campus, and I don't see why it's something we can't continue to do. It's something we've been doing outside of this role in student government, and so it's definitely something that we will continue to do.
I agree. We have been involved throughout the years through various events around campus, so it's definitely something we can do and definitely work with other branches of student government and just of the student body, like clubs. Just like Jose mentioned, we founded Pre-Law. There was nothing like that before on campus, so it's definitely something feasible and we have experience on that.
My interactions so far have been mostly at the student level and at the consumer level, and so I really know where students are not knowing where programs exist, because I didn't know where many programs existed until now. Also, my interactions at the student level up until my senior year here, which will be next year, have been very informative as to what student concerns are. I haven't been operating in the same way with the same departments. I've been much more out involved with you guys in the community, volunteering. I also worked as a waitress where I waited tables late into the night. And I think that makes me, as the vice president of this ticket, very prepared in understanding what your concerns and needs are.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things would be, actually, this is my first year at WSU Vancouver. So I hadn't had the opportunity to be really involved thus far. Looking to change that, and I plan on doing that by going to all the clubs, getting involved on CoopSync, revamping CoopSync so it's a little more user-friendly and people don't just go there to, as was mentioned in the Senate ticket, go there and look for their one club and then roll out. You know, we want to be able to have accessibility for everyone, and that includes us as the student government. Oh yeah, and the Veteran Center as well. So by being able to interface with all these groups, the Pre-Law, the Diversity Center, the Vet Center, we are going to make sure that all voices are heard. There we go.
Just to make sure I answer all aspects of the question, could you repeat it?
Yes. How can you collaborate with all branches of student government and other student organizations like the Diversity Center?
All right. So I've been involved on campus. So I've only been here for 6 months, but immediately when I started, I was actually inspired by Jose and his really big laugh to get involved on campus. And so I'm involved all around. I'm in Pre-Law Society with them. I'm on the Financial Management Association, in the Public Discourse Program, volunteering at diversity events, and being a college access mentor at local schools. And so me being involved in all those things is a good stepping stone to, all of that was like basically networking for if I do get elected, being able to talk to those people and work with them in making resources available, making events available. And also another way that we can collaborate with more students and organizations is, I think lots of our government is really social sciences based, and I don't see often many of maybe the hard sciences people getting involved, so I want to make sure that we have events and stuff like that that interests that other side of the school. And just as you mentioned about revamping CoopSync, one of the things that scared me when I applied to WSUV was that I couldn't see a full club list anywhere, and I'm like, oh my god, do people do stuff on campus? Where's the social life? So I was terrified. So I think making lots of our tech and online and social media more accessible would be very helpful to getting people involved.
Could you ask the question one more time?
That's fine. That wasn't fine. Sorry, Ethan.
Oh, well.
Just say Will said.
Correct.
Every time.
Yeah, so I'm going to approach this question with just some background experience. I'm currently a scribe in the emergency department, and part of that role, I get to see a group of people that work together very efficiently and very quickly. And so I think bringing that into, if we were to be elected, part of the reason that that works so well in that environment is that everyone knows their job. Everyone is delegated to, so the respiratory therapist knows what they need to do, the doctor knows what he needs to do, the nurses know what they need to do. So giving or delegating tasks and making other clubs have tasks and having students have tasks, that way they feel more inclusive, and then when they are able to bring things to the table, it just works better as a whole student government. Also, I co-founded the Neuroscience Club on campus in my first 2 months while I was a student here. So I saw something that I thought needed to exist on campus, and now I'm the president and Ray is the vice president of the Neuroscience Club. So we know how to get out there and make things happen to be able to get everyone involved.
I agree with what Corinne said, and as she mentioned, she founded the Neuroscience Club, co-founded it, and she is currently president, and I am vice president of that club. So we understand the importance of intercommunication between other clubs on campus, especially when it comes to like the involvement fair. We both work in healthcare, and we have experience collaborating with different departments within the hospital. So I'd say we both have skills in that, but we also just have a desire to have, diversity and unity on our campus.
I'm sorry, but that is time. Just for clarification, it is 2 minutes per ticket, not per individual. So the next question will be, as representatives of the student body, you are expected to aid in the promotion of all campus resources. With that in mind, can one of the VP candidates tell us where the financial aid offices are? It didn't specify for matches. If you can tell us where it is.
GPS.
The Student Resource Center. Am I just giving like a one-phrase answer here? Or?
GPS coordinates, actually. Good. We will ask another question. How do you plan to have open office hours with such busy schedules? Well, this is for everybody. Yeah, just start with Ben and Ruthie.
On the spot. All right, so the nice thing is I'm a disabled veteran and I am here on the GI Bill. So I'm getting paid to go to school right now, which means that I have free time. So having open office hours will not be a big thing for me. I will be here to help people study, to answer questions, whether or not it fits into my schedule around surrounding my class times. I can still be here as often and as much as the student body needs me to be. A lot of people might say, oh, he doesn't know, but that kind of hinders him or hamstrings him on knowing how to interact with students. It really doesn't. I just took a different route here to college. And that route that I took to get here allows me to have a whole bunch of free time to be student body president and help everyone who comes in. I'm not hindered or hampered by any other schedules aside from helping you. So let me help you.
Nice. I'm currently taking 16 credits. I have worked very hard my first 3 years here to kind of clear up my senior year, so I have more time to get involved, to network, to start getting ready for career success. I've also had a lot of financial help from my parents as well as work with myself, and so I'm here on cash, and so I do not have to have a job immediately. I can work with you guys and make that my primary focus if that needs to be done.
Definitely time management is a big part of how I will have time to work as vice president, and also taking summer courses, so that way during the fall I have a lighter course, and that will allow me to have more time during the spring and fall semester.
So the Constitution bylaws requires that we, if elected, the president and vice president hold 10 office hours a week. I work in this university center as one of the interns, and right now I'm holding 15 to 19 office hours a week. So I have the time, and I'm also taking 16 credits, and I've taken 16 credits at least my entire career, and so I've been able to find the time some way, and so I don't see why holding 10 hours would even be a problem for any of us, really. So.
Well said.
I know that some students have raised some concerns that we are both pre-med, pre-pharm, biology, and neuroscience majors, but that should tell you that we're great at time management. And if we were to be elected, we are going to arrange our schedules next year, so one of us can be in the office at all times, and then both of us obviously will be around at least 10 office hours per week. But I work 30 hours a week on top of my all-science school schedule, and if I was to be elected, I'm going to resign from my job. So that's 30 extra hours a week that I can spend here on campus with my door wide open, ready to hear student concerns.
Corinne and I also talked about, like, for example, sometimes our professors will have office hours that just don't work for us. But they will make appointments to meet with you. So in addition to being available a minimum of 10 hours a week on campus, we will also be available to schedule appointments if our office hours don't work for you. We're willing to schedule.
Well, basically any hour I'm here on campus is my office hour for the most part. I do all of my other work at home, so when I'm not in class, feel free always to come up and talk to me. And any hours I hold in the office, I will be 100% available to the students, to the staff, anyone who feels the need to come discuss things with me. And then there's always the use of virtual communication through things such as email.
Yeah, same with that. I will very easily be like at least jobs. So it comes from time management, and also I'm available to make appointments at any time, and I'm always on my email. So that's how I can make myself free for students.
Awesome. Thank you all. So the next question will be, why did you choose your running mate? I guess it's more specific towards presidential tickets.
So I chose my running mate because Naomi and I have worked together for a long time. We went to high school together, and we were in the Student Color Association together, /MECHA, and we're in AVID together, which stands for Advancement via Individual Determination, and so that's a college prep course, and we've just had a lot of it, and that's a cohort, so that means we've moved through high school together, basically, for our entire time there, and so, I mean, we're juniors now, and we've been like Santa Club together, we've co-founded Pre-Law Society, and just all these other things, so we just been really involved and together in the different experiences around campus, and even before we came to this campus, and so that's why I chose Naomi as my running mate.
Wow, that was Elizabeth Pedigree if I ever heard one. So the reason I asked Lindsay to be my running mate is because we don't necessarily get along on everything. Think of the yin to the yang, right? Or the yin to the yang. I think of things one way, and Lindsay's going to think of things another way. And by having that contrast, it allows us to really diversify and broaden ourselves on every position. So we don't have to be in agreement on everything. It's just not going to happen. It's not realistic. It's not feasible. But by being of the same mind and having the same end goal, that's what really matters. And that's why I chose Lindsay. I requested Lindsay and was lucky enough to have her accept to be my running mate.
I actually wasn't sure until like very close to the deadline whether or not I was going to run. And so, what were you doing? Oh, okay. But what happened was Ethan had actually messaged me up before the deadline, and he had said something nice about how I was one of the people on campus that he felt he could speak very openly with, and he could talk about anything, and I was very easy to talk to. And one, I found that very flattering, but also what I wanted from my campaign was that I hope that everybody would be open to talk like that with everyone, if that makes sense, a very open dialogue campus. And so I felt that he kind of understood that idea and that we would work well together. And also he was willing, so why not?
I kind of hate how that question is worded because I didn't really choose Bree. We just decided as a group together to run, but we both kind of have experience in the sense that we have a little bit of life experience under our belts. We both have worked real career world jobs, and we both decided to come back to school, and we're both pursuing very difficult degrees and graduate education. And also we work really well together as president and vice president of the Neuroscience Club right now. And so we knew that we would be able to bounce ideas off of each other, and we historically work really well together, and we're great friends. So that's why I decided to have Bree as my running mate. I don't like the choose word. But in that sense, I'm going to make her answer the question too, because I feel like we're running as a pair, not as me choosing her.
I appreciate that. So Corinne and I believe that we would work well together because we really value each other's judgment and integrity. We know we work well together because we currently serve as president and vice president of the Neuroscience Club. We're in a lot of the intensive STEM classes together, so we have proof that the other one is dedicated and driven. We've been in the, so to speak, trenches together, and we know that we're able to persevere together no matter what situation we're put into.
Thank you for those answers. The next question is, WSU Vancouver is dedicated to promote diversity and equality and equity in our student body. Some may feel that gender, race, sexual orientation should not be used to aid any person. And how would you respond? Or how do you feel about that? And
in terms of social status not being used to kind of accommodate people, I think that I would disagree with that. I think that historically people are marginalized by society because we have a social norm, and when you don't fall inside of that social norm, you're marginalized, which means you're put to the side and you're not necessarily served. So for example, I identify as Black or African American. I'm a first generation student. Neither of my parents went to college, and so socially, I'm a marginalized individual. And without the help that I've gotten from different accommodations, like the college-bound scholarship, for example, I wouldn't be here. And so I completely disagree that we shouldn't use these characteristics, because these characteristics make up our society and they marginalize individuals. So I definitely think that we should encourage those, and we should promote those with diversity and inclusion in order to make sure everyone feels welcome on this campus.
I would have to agree with you. Everyone is very diverse, and everyone needs like a little push to get help. So it's definitely something that we do need to work on, and I don't agree with the question as well.
This is definitely a tricky one. I believe that you should not legislate based on people's culture or identity, and that falls for everyone. We believe in diversity of thought, diversity of color, diversity of culture, diversity of creed, diversity of religion. We want everyone to have their personal identities to be acceptable. And I have experience in Central America as well as in Europe, and so I feel like I understand what it's like to have these different thoughts or thoughts that may not be in line with what the rest of society has. And so diversity and equity on campus is important to us in a different way than maybe the question might have framed it.
Can you say the question one more time?
yeah, the question is, WSU Vancouver is dedicated to promoting diversity and equity in our student body. Some may feel that gender, race, sexual orientation should not be used to aid any one person. How would you respond?
Okay. Well, I mean, Yeah, we absolutely do. As Washington State University Vancouver, we definitely do promote based on all of those things. You know, we promote our diversity. We encourage diversity. There's no one who's going to argue that. Personally, I think that when we talked about legislation, I think legislation should really be merit-based. I think that instead of singling out groups, I think that, you know, based on physical identifiers, we single out groups based on merit. You know, help those who help themselves. That's just me, old way of thinking. At the end of the day, though, I think if we were going to discriminate or do anything negatively based on any of those identifiers, race, creed, sexual orientation, you know, fill in the blank, that's not really what, I don't agree with that, but nor do I agree with legislation based on those identifiers, and I do agree with WSU Vancouver promoting a sense of diversity.
This is more of a brief side note than anything else, but if you take the any and all out of religion, race, creed, and political beliefs or sexual orientation, then yes, it is wrong. But the rule of the game is we all are the same. That is something that is definitely reiterated by WSUV's promotion of diversity. A lot of these people, based on their race or religion or sexual orientation, are in a way disadvantaged. They are having to catch up with a lot of people from their own, you know, scenarios that they've had to go through. So more than anything else, WSUV should celebrate these differences. It should advocate for people to really be themselves and to make sure that no one is oppressed and no one is lauded over the other.
One thing that I'd also like to say is by promoting scholarships, is that what it was referring to, like scholarships and stuff like that? Or resources for specific groups? I don't see how that could negatively impact another group. That's all that I have to say about that.
Yeah, so I think it's very important to celebrate and advocate for adversity on campus, or not adversity, diversity. It's been a long day, midterms. But in terms of financial awards, I think that they 100% should be merit-based. I am an example. I am a white female from a middle-class family who isn't paying for my college. I have a great GPA, and I do not qualify for any scholarships just because I'm not from a tribe, or my skin isn't a certain color, or I don't identify with a certain group, although I have worked just as hard to get here. And I think that that's a great example of a lot of other students that have complained about those sort of things. So I think that it's very important to have resources for disadvantaged groups. But in terms of a financial award, I think that it should be merit-based, and I don't know why it's not.
All right, thank you for those answers. We are running out of time, so we have one last question, same question that we asked the senators. What would you say is the greatest strength of Washington State University Vancouver? And we'll start with Jose.
I think that our greatest strength is as the senator said before, I'm going to agree with them, our diversity of our people. You know, we have people from every walk of life. We have people who work. We have people who are fathers and mothers, and we have a lot of experience. And that really sets us apart from campuses like Pullman, where their average age is 18 years old. This is a very unique campus, and we're in addition to that, geographically, we are located in Portland, Vancouver metropolitan area. Like, this is a powerhouse. And I mean, one of our components of our platform is community. We want to build that community because we are in such a unique position, not only geographically, but in terms of our student population, that we need to capitalize on that in order for the students to be successful, in order for the students to get the most out of this education.
I would have to agree with you. One of the greatest strengths is that we are Washington State University, Vancouver. We are in the metropolitan area. We can reach out to the community. We have great resources in the community. We can reach out to community leaders, and that's something that's a very great strength.
Our greatest strength is events like this, where we can collaborate and talk about what our thoughts are and what our plans are and what our hopes are and get input and also be leaders. I think another really great thing about this campus in particular is that we're a satellite campus, and that means that our main campus and Tri-Cities and here in Vancouver, we can reach a lot of students and really impact a lot of lives in a lot of different geographic locations.
All right. Well, I don't like the word diversity because I feel it's kind of like a buzzword. So I'm just going to say individual identities, which is the same thing, but not. I think that we all do come from different walks of life in different areas and different circumstances, and we all think a certain way because that is inherently who we are as part of our identity. And so far, I haven't seen any I haven't seen any negative impacts based on that, and I think that really shows the strength, the true strength and character of WSU Vancouver. But being allowed to be ourselves, being allowed to feel the way we feel, and being able to collaborate and help each other and get out in the community and really take a pride in our school. So yeah, I guess I would say twofold. It is individual identity and just the pride in who we are, being where we are, and being what we are.
So a few members in Senate mentioned aspects about making this campus bigger, kind of like Pullman and stuff like that, and I have to disagree because one of my favorite things about WSUV is just how small it is. Because I can see the same people every day. It's almost, in a way, slightly similar to high school in that way. And this smaller community, it's so concentrated with people, like lots of non-traditional students, and I can just sit down and talk with them in the cafeteria about their experiences, hear their opinions about things like immigration. Like, I have strong opinions on immigration, and someone who's a veteran and 60 years old can share their opinions with me on immigration, and we obviously have very different perspectives on that, but I can learn, and it's extremely enriching to have that opportunity and be able to learn with every kind of person.
Building off of what she said about a smaller community, as she mentioned, it's very easy to build connections with people here. You see them on a regular basis. Oftentimes you'll be taking a lot of the same classes. I've noticed is if you are filling out some of the core requirements, it's just one of the things that's most important is the if you want to take advantage of a degree in your life, you can. It's something you can pursue. And all these non-traditional students that I've seen in that, they really inspire me to actually do work. That sounds really sappy, I'll admit that, but it's definitely, the non-traditional students are one of the greatest aspects of this college.
I think definitely, in my opinion, the greatest thing about this campus is the potential for it to be a platform for each individual. I say that in multiple ways. The potential for us to have innovative research, the potential for us to have these diverse, stimulating conversations, and the potential for you to use this as a platform for yourself to get where you want to be in 5 years or 4 years or 10 years or however long. You can go and look back and say, wow, WSUV was really, what set me up for success, and that's, really why we're all in college. So I think it's definitely the potential to be a platform for you.
I personally, how do I put this? Not my favorite thing about our biggest strength as Cougs is that we're a very open-minded university. I'm not going to take a stance on this issue, and I know that there were a lot of varied opinions about it, but last year we had a gender-neutral bathroom day, which, like I said, I'm not taking a stance on that issue at this time, but I think it's amazing that we're a university of accepting people that come together and I don't know statistics on this, but I don't know how many other universities in the United States are as forward-thinking as our university is.
Thank you all so much for your answers, and thank you all for your participation. Let's go ahead and give our presidential tickets a round of applause. Thank you for attending the 2017 ASWSUV candidate debate. Online voting begins tomorrow, Thursday, March 2nd, and polling begins on campus March 6th at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Tyler.